Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ravit Show. Today, I'm excited to host one and only Sudharsan from InfoCepts, a seasoned data and AI strategist with over 2 decades of experience as the leader of practice for data science and AI at InfoCepts. He focuses on building cutting edge data science and digital experience and capabilities to help clients achieve their goals. And this is through data and AI. So excited about that. We'll discuss key trends in data science and AI, how InfoCepts is driving innovation, and advice for aspiring professionals in this space. So feel free to drop in your questions in the chat. So Darshan will be answering all the questions live. But without any further ado, let's bring up our guest. Hey, Sudarshan, welcome to the Ravit Show. Such a pleasure to have you today on the show.
Likewise, Rawat. Thank you so much for having me here. I've been a great fan of your work right from the time you visited the Innovation Day that we hosted.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you for all the great work that you have been doing, bringing alive a lot of actual conferences that happen everywhere else in the world into the lives of data practitioners. Thank you.
Thanks for those kind words. Definitely, we're doing our bits to make sure where the community gets the best insights. I know there have been, so much talking about AI in the last 3 years that we've seen, but also data science has evolved a lot. And things have also changed in the jobs, right? The job market looks a little different from what it was. So I'm excited to chat a lot about those things with you because you've been in the space for more than 2 decades. So it kind of made sense to have you on the show, see what you're thinking about this shift as well. But just to start with, obviously, I'm going to jump right in and going to put out asking you about what are the biggest trends that you see shaping the data science and AI landscape today? What are your thoughts?
Always a relatable question in our space, right? What are
Right.
the trends? What keeps coming up and so on? So I just
Yep.
wanted to start by saying that, look, I was reading up on the note that Paddy Upton had put after he was coaching Gukesh, right? About how mental toughness was very, very relevant and critical for chess
Yep.
during the World Championship game. I was just trying to take a corollary there, basically suggesting that for data practitioners such as ourselves, with so much changing so frequently, I think it is prime time for us as well to get some mental wellness so we are able to be prepared in terms
Yep.
of what's coming up and so on. Yeah, jokes aside, right? So some of the trends that I see shaping up in the market itself. One, of course, is the rise of generative AI and the foundational models. So
Hmm.
basically, the world has turned itself over since the last maybe 24 months when Chat GPT became public and so on.
Right.
Now, when we started using them more as predictive capabilities, then came about agentic AI, which sort of said that, okay, I don't know, I don't just give predictions, I can also do actions on top of it. Basically,
Exactly.
the word in the community is, if you are not fine tuning any pre trained models, you are basically fine tuning your prompts. So it
Right.
has gone to an extent that the whole community is just working on generative AI and the foundational models and so on. The second trend that I see basically is around AI has permeated so much into the business processes that all the
Mm-hmm.
workflows have AI embedded, be
Yeah.
it predictions in the ERP systems to AI enabled BI applications. It is just everywhere. We will just have
Mm-hmm.
to acknowledge it, and we will have to make sure that the workforce is aware and are able to consume it the right way, because
Right.
it always has certain challenges in terms of how do we interpret and use and consume that information.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes maybe the third trend is about the emergence of several automation and low code, no code tools. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with the convergence of such tools along with LLM, they have just democratized AI. Like everybody is now becoming a
Use it.
citizen data scientist. Every manager is becoming or creating functional models and so on. And then comes, for example, with so many models getting generated, time is again ripe for making sure that the operations and support is managed well, right? So we
Yeah.
have all familiar with ML ops. Now comes LLM ops. How do you make sure that the models are working fine? How do you monitor them? Make sure they are bias free and so on. All of it take very, very critical sort of importance right now as well. And
Yeah.
finally, this is something that is very close to where I belong and what I follow is the ethical AI. Like
Very true.
Underpin all these trends, we will have to make sure that the models that we build, one, are fair, they are safe, they are transparent, and people are able to trust the recommendations coming out of the model. So
Mm,
all of these put together sort of are creating so much opportunities, right? And opportunities come out in different forms as well. So, like for example, first, any enterprise that looks at AI, for instance, want to make sure that they are making the right investments. How do they make sure that the costs that go into creating these models generate the right returns coming out of the model? Now they have already invested so much. Now they are looking at really, really cautious about what more to invest, which basically means there is plenty of opportunity to see whether they are prioritizing it in the right way. Then comes the opportunity in terms of, we started off with data fluency maybe what, 10 years back. Now it has come into the sphere of AI fluency. How do we make sure that the people who we build these AI systems understand it properly,
mm-hmm.
know nuances behind it, and more importantly, use it? Because we are building applications and solutions so that businesses can benefit out of it. How can we help the whole workforce make them AI literate and fluent so that they are able to use it? And one more opportunity area perhaps is about, all the sheen has been around the consumption side of the life cycle, right? In
Yep.
terms of dashboards, insights, models, and so on. The data has always been the neglected child, so to speak. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with the emergence of AI, there is again a possibility, like for example, use AI for data to prepare your data for AI. Basically, you are
Mm.
able to use your AI to make sure that the data is good, so that the data then becomes good for doing better AI itself. So that's kind of the opportunities that we see with all these trends that are shaping in the market, Ravit. What do you
Yeah, no,
think? What's happening there?
yeah, no, I think you're right in terms of, obviously in the last 2 years, 3 years, we've seen massive evolution that has happened. We've seen, newer trends kind of coming into the game. I talk to a lot of enterprise leaders and they tell me that we start with something, right? I was talking to, obviously in 2023, towards the end, I remember I was talking to so many leaders, and it was just this time itself in the year, and I was talking about the different trends and, things. So they had, obviously, they were pressing towards more on the implementation side. But
Mm,
to be honest, we are in 2024 and we're still talking about it. That will happen
true.
in 2025 as well. And this has
That's
only
true.
happened because the space has is constantly evolving. Like you said,
True.
there's agentic AI which is like the newer big thing, and everyone's betting on it in 2025 as well, and
Correct.
it will go on. So we are gonna see a lot of, like, I'm not gonna say that it's gonna mature so easily. We are getting there. We are learning. The implementation will definitely happen slowly, but it will take a little while. It will go on till maybe
True.
more than 1 or 2 years as well, and that is what we've seen with everything that comes up new, right?
That's right.
Even in the cloud days, we've kind of seen that. Early in cloud days, we've seen that happening. So that's, obviously, first of all, thanks for sharing that. It's those are fantastic insights and great trends that you've kind of spoken about. And responsible AI is one of the most favorite topic that I always love to learn about as well, because in the end, once we have, like, okay, the implementation sorted as well, there are a lot of industries where implementation has happened, but now comes the time where how responsibly these industries are actually using it.
True.
So I'm kind of keen on that topic as well. One more quick question for you, Darshan, is around, obviously, I know you talk to a lot of clients, you meet a lot of customers, a lot of enterprise leaders, and even the community. So how are you and, obviously, InfoCepts helping business navigate these trends and drive innovation in data science and AI? Because that's something which is, I'm pretty sure, a little challenging too. But how are you all helping them to get to the next level?
Sure, sure. A great question again, right? Uh, so, as you know, InfoCepts is in the business of bridging the gap between business and data. So,
Right.
true to that, we have multiple ways in which we sort of intervene, right? Like, for example, for our existing customers, we do something like a state of data and AI workshop. So, this happens
Mm-hmm.
on a weekly periodic sort of basis, where
Nice.
what we try and do is assess the capabilities that exist in the organization. Are those capabilities rightly being consumed? With
Mm-hmm.
evolving business strategy, are they taking up the right steps, and have they aligned the resources for the right for those steps to actually mature and give them returns? So this is a
Mm-hmm.
really comprehensive sort of assessment that we do, and it sort of lays out a nice blueprint of where they stand, and also start recommending actions such that the delta can be bridged. So this is
Right.
our sort of proprietary state of data and AI workshop, which helps customers look at how the market is evolving and how they are able to prepare themselves to be able to attack or adjust to this market demands itself. Then the next sort of way in which we help is something called hyperproductive hyperproductive engineers. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so you could look at it, Ravit, as data engineers on steroids, right? Like, for example, the way in which data engineers work, we are looking at amplifying the value that they generate close to
Yep.
1.5 to 2x times. Now, how do we achieve it? We sort of make sure that the data engineers, the data visualization experts, the data analysts, and the BI developers, all of them, this whole community across this data value chain, are very, very familiar with the AI tools. So it is
Yeah.
AI powered, the whole power programmer segment that helps in amplifying the value that we eventually deliver. Now, the value can be across different aspects, right? One, it could be in terms of faster delivery. It could also be in terms of reduced risk of failure of a particular engagement. And as a consequence of both of this, it's a reduced cost to the customers itself in terms of getting something done. And then, I mean, like you had already visited, we do this biannual sort of an event, the Innovation Day.
Love it.
Last two
Yeah.
iterations have been specifically focused on machine learning and generative AI. So what has happened out of the ideas that sort of germinate out of Innovation Day is they become, or they have become, enterprise application. I mean, I'll
Mm-hmm.
maybe call out a couple of them. One which was about how do we automate the invoice processing, which is a problem that almost all large enterprises face. Is there a way
100%.
in which we can sort of study it, make sure that we go back to the vendor, try and fix this whole invoice generation process? So we have a solution that is now actually live and working in a large pharmaceutical company. And similarly, there is also a people analytics problem that we had solved in terms of enabling the senior leadership in the people practices organization to be able to understand the data of their employees. And that
Yep.
again is a chatbot that is now available for use in a auto manufacturing in Europe. Now,
Nice.
like with all other companies, what we also have, Ravit, is existing partnerships with leading
Mm-hmm.
hyperscalers, also including Snowflake, Databricks, and so on.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
and what it also helps is we have also partnered with a lot of additional tools which help in auto ML products, be it the Data IQs, Able, and so on. All of them help us get a step ahead in terms of solving for our client's problem in an effective manner. And
Yep.
finally, what we also have, Ravit, are some of our own homegrown productized solutions which have AI embedded in them. And these
Very cool.
have been thought through so that they address a specific problem that we have seen customers face when they are embarking on large scale digital transformation powered by data and AI. So these are sort of multiple ways, multiple touch points
Yeah.
through which we try and help our customers in their journey.
I love it. I love, how you mentioned about starting from the workshops to even having, obviously giving them the opportunity where if they're working with hyperscalers, they still have the opportunity to work with InfoCepts because you all have like deep integrations with these hyperscaler vendors. And obviously, you also mentioned about the the engineering part, right, which is very important, and how good you all are in terms of making sure that the community is always learning. I was at the innovation day, like you said, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because obviously you all y'all, internally, this is for the internal company, and y'all are
Correct.
such a huge team. Y'all have different innovations that y'all are focusing on. That also gives a good vision for the clients to understand what's coming, what's newer in
Exactly.
space as well. So
So
that's
just
fantastic.
staying on Innovation Day, right, Ravit, what you rightly talked about the clients, right? So what we are progressing towards is earlier we looked at problems, started solving them, took it to customers.
Right.
Now we are looking at borrowing problems from customers where they don't have the time, capacity, data to solve, and we are experimenting on their behalf so that we go in and have sort of a proof of value to them directly when we have and engage customers with their conversations itself. So that way, Innovation Day becomes a hotbed of creativity, problem solving, and bringing together people from different sort of teams within the organization.
I love it. That's awesome. Also, you mentioned in your answer about something around innovation. So I'm kind of curious to, just talk a little about that as well. So, obviously with rapid advancements in Gen AI and automation, how are you looking at the traditional data science roles transforming from what new roles are also emerging? I would love to know about that. But what do you think about the traditional data science roles? How's the space changing?
Oh, sure. Great question again, right? So, sort of, I'll look at this through two lenses. For example, one, which is about this emergence of generative AI, which is directly having an impact on how data scientists view their work. So we are now using the word traditional data scientists, but data scientists by themselves have only been what 10, 15, 20 years in the industry,
Exactly.
but that has been the way it is. So they were basically really broad based in their capabilities, right, Ravit? You might have
Right.
seen that they look at data collection, processing, feature engineering, model development, deployment, monitoring, and so on.
Right.
They had to do the whole 9 yards. But what has
Mm.
happened after large language models and generative AI is a lot of these capabilities can either be semi automated or automated, and you
Right.
are able to tap into the knowledge that already exists. You don't have to do everything from scratch. That basically frees up a lot of bandwidth for your data scientists, and the way that it translates to is in terms of applying it immersively in really really complex problems. Now instead of looking at
Mm.
certain problems that are perhaps table stakes across the industry, you focus or
Yep.
you narrow your span to those problems that are very very pertinent to a particular organization. So that has directly shifted in the way data scientists used to work. Another shift, because of all these, like we talked about these low code, no code, a lot of these automation tools itself, right? One,
Right.
it builds in a lot of capability within the organization to build models. But then not everybody is proficient enough to build the right models. So that
Mm-hmm.
again is a space where data scientists play a really, really critical role in terms of model governance. Are you building the model in a right way? Have you made aware of the users about the bias in the data so that the recommendation or the results that come out of it is something that they need to always be aware of what has gone in? So the
Yep.
governance aspect in terms of what goes in, how do you monitor, these are elements in which the data scientists play an even larger role now than they were playing earlier, because it was a closed community of data scientists who were building models. So it was always
Exactly.
well, you knew what to expect, sort of what went in, what came out, and so on. But now with the proliferation of these tools, the governance aspect becomes even more critical for data scientists.
So true.
And yeah, and on perhaps on the new roles, right? I mean, for example, very very recently we started an engagement with a large customer about having a team which constituted AI product managers, AI ethics specialists, and so on. So interesting
Wow.
set of roles that are emerging there, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
always we looked at someone who was a liaison between business and the technical teams. Now these pods are emerging in a way that a product manager, an AI product manager, so to speak, who understands the technical nuances but is also able to speak the language of the business. He sort
Business.
of
True.
aligns and bridges that gap. And then the ethics
Very
leader was
interesting.
a very interesting choice, right? there are so many acts coming in. The EU Act is already live. China is coming up with its own regulation. India
Yep.
Act is a statutory framework right now. So it's like too much jugglery that is needed to make sure that the models that you create are on the right side of compliance across all these ends.
Exactly.
So ethics
Exactly.
specialist is also someone that's coming up. And of course, with LLMs, you have these prompt engineers,
Yeah.
model tuning specialists, and so on as well. So these are really new roles coming in. I mean, exciting times, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think first of all, thanks for sharing that. I think these AI product managers, as you said, AI ethics specialists. I think this is what we're gonna see growing in 2025 for sure, because
Absolutely.
there's a lot of business understanding that we would need when it comes to AI, but at the same time also be a little bit of technical knowledge that can
Correct.
go into the game. So I'm excited about that. Thanks for sharing about the governance piece. Obviously, it is something which I've been talking to so many leaders out there, and they're like, two things when we think about AI is like data quality, data governance. We we
Correct.
we have to be like laser focused on these things, and then other things kind of combine when we kind of get much more deeper into the implementation. So thanks for that, Sudarshan. I'm also curious to know a little about the skills as well. So what key skills, tools, and experiences do you believe are critical for aspiring professionals to differentiate themselves in the competitive data and AI landscape? Because I feel it's like it's moving so fast, right?
So,
So what are your thoughts?
again, a great question connected to the previous one as well, right? In
Right,
terms of
right,
the responsibilities have changed, how do I equip myself so that I stay relevant in the
exactly.
near future and so on? Like the traditional skills, right? What we have seen data scientists to sort of mandatorily possess, that continues to remain. Like be it about programming languages, maybe R or maybe Python and so on.
Mhm.
Then how do they do data processing and data management? Some level of SQL, that is absolutely needed. You can't do away with SQL no matter how far ahead we go. And
Yeah.
then what about the flavor of statistics and maths? That again is critical, right? Because they need to be able to assess what are the algorithms, how do they behave, and things like that. And
Mm.
then you have these the whole ML algorithms and the AI techniques itself. So these four together become almost like a given right now for
Yep.
any data scientist, ML engineer kind of a role, right? But given the shifts that we see, what we also anticipate, at least for the senior folks in the organization or for senior data scientists who would want to create the difference in terms of value to customers, one
Right.
is in about the domain knowledge, which you also rightly pointed out just now. So they need to know exactly what problem that a particular industry is facing. If I'm going to be talking to a retail giant, I need to know how I can solve for an inventory optimization for a retail.
So
And
true.
I mean, it would not be similar if I have to do an inventory optimization for a large manufacturing customer. So the understanding and appreciation of the domain is so critical over there.
Critical.
And then what also is needed is in terms of certain soft skills, right? We always sort of underplay them. But if you look at it the way I look at and see the construct of, say, I'm also familiar with this framework of the what, the so what, and now what. So this is
Yeah,
something that we have
exactly.
to. So the data scientists typically are very good at answering the what, like what had happened, what is bound to happen, and so on. But the guy sitting on the other side, who is actually going to be consuming, he's like, it doesn't matter. Tell me so what, and then what do I need to do now? So
Do
this
now.
translation of what they are building into a language that a business guy can understand and act on is very critical. So that
Wow.
soft skills in terms of communicating it in the right way is something very, very important that we see. And of course, the responsible AI, we keep coming back to such a critical topic.
Exactly. We
So
can't
so
miss it.
that's something that people have to be, any emerging data scientist who is interested to get into the space needs to be aware of what it is, what are its ramifications, how do you make sure that you always build ethical models, and how do you monitor that, and so on, is something that is very critical as well. Yeah,
I
so
love
that
it.
that
I love, yeah, I love those insights. And definitely those are the key skills, tools that you need to, equip yourself when you're kind of looking at the competitive world that we are in, and then obviously just keeping yourself so much up to date, right? Because this
Yeah,
space, we're seeing it evolve, and it will keep evolving. But those are good
absolutely.
points, I think, not only just from the data engineering perspective, but even the soft skill you mentioned about that. Like, someone needs leaders need to talk about it so much more, because I feel like having that understanding how the other business person will
Person.
understand what you're talking is
Correct.
such an important topic, right? Why are people not talking about it? And when that happens, obviously things kind of becomes so easier. So
Absolutely.
that's definitely super interesting. I'm kind of also wanting to learn, because I've seen the team. I've met, at the InfoCepts team. I'm close to the team. I know how you all operate, and such a fantastic team from top down to bottom up. Obviously I've met everyone, almost everyone at
Yeah.
InfoCepts, right? I'm kind of curious to know a little about what makes InfoCepts the ideal place for professionals who want to grow or build a career in data science and AI. What are some key things that you would like to mention? Because I know y'all are always hiring more and more interesting talent
True.
from all over the country. Not only just that, globally, y'all have a good presence. So, anything that you would like to share?
Sure, sure, certainly, Ravit. The way I see it, Ravit, is any professional who looks to either join a workforce or shift to a workforce, in my opinion, looks at three broad areas, right?
Right.
One is about, do I have adequate learning opportunities in my
Mm-hmm.
organization? Second is about, does the organization do good work? Is it impactful? And do I see myself progressing in this organization?
Very
And
true.
third, more important as well, is about what is the overall work environment itself within the organization. So these
Mm-hmm.
are sort of three broad aspects that anybody looks, evaluates potential sort of companies before they are able to start. Now, if
Right.
we were to sort of go a little bit deeper on all of these aspects, right? On the learning, uh, so any newcomer who comes to InfoCepts, right, goes through a very dedicated, committed sort of a boot camp, which is making
Yep.
sure that they are being prepared to face the challenges that the client is going to ask them to solve and things like that. Now, what we have
Right.
also done in the last couple of years is to make learning platforms such as Udemy accessible for everyone in the organization, which basically means I don't need to seek separate approvals. I just log into Udemy. I find certain courses that are of interest, relevant, and I find that really intriguing. And then I could directly go and start consuming that content on the platform.
That's
And
awesome.
then,
Yeah.
yeah, which is pretty cool, right? So I can learn from experiences to marketing to, like I said, inventory optimization was a real problem that I had to get a better hang of. So I was able to get certain aspects from the Udemy platform. And then innovation day, of
Nice.
course, is our commitment in terms of making sure that we are committed towards learning. The key is in not only in terms of solving problems, but to elevate the knowledge quotient of our workforce. So all of these sort of make sure that the learning growth for an individual when they join InfoCepts is near secured and guaranteed. Now, in terms of if you were to look at, are we doing impactful work? Yes, I would say an emphatic yes, so to speak. So the industry has also sort of uh, considered and awarded us in that space. Like, for example, we have been rated as the top 50 firms for data scientists to work in India for
Wow.
2 years in a row. So it's something that we are really, really proud about. And some of our solutions, I did briefly touch upon a couple of our solutions, Discovery AI or Employee 360. They have actually been awarded in the AI journal for AI excellence and AI workforce sort of solution. So these have
Very
come out.
cool.
Yeah, the innovation that started off as one of the ideas during Innovation Day have actually uh, grown so big to grab some of these prestigious awards as well, which is something we are very fascinated and proud about.
Very
And
cool.
finally, we have to also look at the culture standpoint, right? I mean, you did talk about the fact that you have met much of the large portion of our workforce, how we have been very, very sort of creative, so to speak, right? So And one more aspect over here is InfoCepts has been certified as a great place to work for 3 years in a row. Something that once again we are very very proud about of our achievement. This is based on the feedback that's being gathered by the associates, shared with the leadership, how are actions being taken, and how this whole sort of a life cycle work. So and that's something that we are very happy to be certified by the organization for 3 years in a row. And
Very
our
cool.
diversity sort of ratio has also been high. So this is something that the industry is always looking to sort of create a balance, right? Although we are above industry average right now, we still are looking at improving that percentage points itself. So
Very cool.
yeah, and then overall it's a very very collaborative environment is how I would put it. So in terms of, there is a fine balance in terms of personal well-being to professional aspirations, so that you can marry the two and still be able to deliver on your expectations and objectives, Ravit. That's
Love
what.
it. Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And obviously, first of all, congratulations on all the great awards, and obviously, well deserved. I've seen the Innovation Day, I've seen those products firsthand when y'all were just starting to build out, and it has grown massively. So that's awesome. Quick question. I'm pretty sure folks out there who would be interested to, obviously, start their career, or, obviously have started their career, but would want to, get to many more challenges. They would want to solve different projects that y'all have been into. Where can they apply for these data science AI roles at InfoCepts? Is there a place where people can do that?
Certainly, certainly. So it's on, all the positions are on our website. So if you
Okay,
could visit
fantastic.
infoceps.ai/careers, you would get a list of all of the positions, and we are constantly looking to expand the capabilities within the team. So would really
Okay.
love to share
And
some.
yeah, I can also share the link with everyone so they can have a look at it
Sure.
and see the job list as well. So that's awesome. One last question for you, Sudarshan. It has been, first of all, it has been amazing talking to you. All the great insights
Likewise.
that
Yeah.
you've shared are fantastic. And I'm pretty sure we'll keep the conversation going. But then I'm pretty sure folks would want to reach out to you, all the leaders out there in the data science AI, those who are also starting their career or are in this space and would want to, expand their knowledge. If they want to reach out to you, which is the best place for them to reach out to you?
LinkedIn is a good platform. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
accessible on LinkedIn. Uh, Regularly check it. So that would be a great place to start.
Amazing. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. So, folks, you all can reach out to Sudarshan on LinkedIn. But once again, Sudarshan, thanks for visiting the Ravit Show. Such a pleasure chatting with you. And thanks to our audience as well for putting in questions. Sudarshan will be answering all those questions to you. But we'll keep the conversation going. Feel free to reach out to Sudarshan if you all have any other additional questions. Thanks, Sudarshan.
Thank you so much, Rawat. It was great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. And the feeling is likewise. Thanks.
Thank you.